Hello and welcome to the studio, and thank you very much for joining me here today again in Wales, UK, where we paint away the stress of everyday life. So before I get started, I'm actually painting on some paper. Wait for it, paper. It's not actually watercolor paper. It's just an art pad that I found in the drawer. So before we start, don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe, and click the notification bell under the subscription button, and set your notifications to all. That way you will never miss a video from myself, because I upload every Monday. So as you can see, I'm actually drawing a little bit of a pathway or road. I'm quite decided exactly what I'm doing, but I wanted to try and explain perspective. So we got an horizon line and we are standing on a road or a path. I'm going to put a couple of trees in, maybe some posts or something like that, just to show that things in the foreground are going to be a lot bigger than they are in the distance, to give you that type of perception of the painting going away from you as a viewer. So it's called perspective, basically. So you can see what I mean as I'm doing it. Now, if you think my voice is a bit ropey today, it is because I've actually lost the audio for this. So I've had to re-edit the audio. So I'm talking over a painting that I've already done, which is very unusual for me. I can normally talk away the stress of everyday life here in Wales as I'm painting. And yes, I've got a job to be quiet sometimes. So I'm sitting here in the studio, I'm talking, I'm voicing over this painting as I'm watching it on my computer. So I've just started with a little bit of ultramarine blue and got a little bit of white. I've mixed that, got that wonderful sky color. I'm just adding a little bit of white into that sky, just to give it that essence of some like fluffy cloud in the sky. You know, you're going to get that really nice blue sky, and the light is shining on it, and you get that white showing through, and it's just a wonderful type of sky. You know what I mean? I hope you do anyway. So it's like little bits of cloud in there, but it's all like merged together, so you don't know what's blue and what's white and where these clouds are. So I might actually put some more clouds in a minute. So yes, we've had some wonderful weather here this last month or so in Wales. It's been a very warm. I'm actually off to the Lake District, which is up by for those people abroad that don't know much about England or UK. It's up around about the Liverpool area, Blackpool, Liverpool, up that way. Lancaster, it's called. So the Lake District is up in that. So it's, as you look at on the map of the UK, it's on the in the middle on the left hand side, up there somewhere. So I'm going to continue painting this, and you might hear me slurping. If I'm slurping, it's because I got a nice hot coffee in my hand, so I'm going to have a little drink just to keep the old voice box working. And I want to thank everybody for some wonderful comments, which I'm hoping as I go along, I'll share with you. And I'm gonna have I did have my phone with me. Where's my phone? I've lost my phone. No. Doesn't matter. So I've had some wonderful comments over the last few weeks, and you know, you're loving my tips and things like that. So I've got a tip video coming out next week now. On brushes and things, so we'll get to that. We'll get to that one, and hopefully everything will work. Sometimes we got stuff in the studio, and you know, they fail. I'm getting older. It's my birthday coming up, and I'm looking forward to that, because I'm going away, as I said, to the Lake District. So I'm gonna have a nice little break. So yeah, we're going to put a little bit of distant mountain shapes or something. I'm just going to play around now with some shapes in the distance. I don't use a lot of detail. You don't need to use a lot of detail in paintings, really speaking. Now, the point I want to try and get to here today is that there's a lot of people said, why do you paint on cardboard and why do you paint on papers and stuff like that? Well, I've got a lot of craft boards. I've got a lot of painting pads and things like that. It's a shame not to use them. Now, I'm not the best artist when it comes to watercolors and such like, so acrylics I find very universal in that respect, because you can thin them down as much as you like with water, but there is a caveat attached to that, that the only way you can get away with using the watercolors very, very thin and lots of moisture, lots of water added to them, is the fact that if you can use cardboard, paper, any absorbent surface that is going to soak in those pigment particles of paint, basically, and allow them to attach themselves to that surface so they don't flake or flake off or that type of thing, you know, as they dry out. Now, as another thing I'm going to touch on in a second is how long it takes acrylic paints to dry, because there's a misconception there as well. So yeah, if you paint on anything too shiny or too greasy, acrylic paint won't stick. It just won't. And it's always advisable, as I'm shading this background in a little bit now with just a little touch bit more of that color. After I misted it off with a bit of white, there you go. And I'm going to build some trees in as well. I'm going to be working on the path and the mid-ground shortly. Is that you should always prime your surface. Even if you buy a canvas, you should prime it. Even if it comes pre-primed, some canvases and surfaces you buy are pre-primed, and they only sprayed on with a water-based, well, it's basically a very thin acrylic paint, putting some shadow into the pathway now. So but as a manufacturing process carries on, you will find that there is little dents, little dinks, there's little spot marks, and sometimes the paint comes out of these sprays a little bit thicker in some spots than others. Also, you get some grease spots by handling. They're covered with plastic, PVC plastic covers. Sometimes they break or get punctured and dust particles enter, and your painting surface is not clean and dry and free from contaminants as you may think. So they should always be primed by yourself with a little bit of gesso or acrylic primer, which we'll talk about again in another video. So making sure your painting surface is always clean and dry and free from contaminants, and then you will have no problems whatsoever. But when we come back to painting on paper and cardboards and things like that, I always give them a quick little coat of gesso, and because it just helps with that paint. And I like a little bit of a rough texture to my surface that I paint on, and that's a personal preference. You don't have to do that if you're painting on paper or cardboard or anything like that. So I'm building up the pathway. As you can see, it's a little bit darker in the foreground. Going slightly lighter to the mid-ground, and it's going to be lighter again towards the background there, and that's just going to make that illusion of distance. So they've got the little mountain and some shadowing things in for some trees there, as you can see in the distance, which is very, very light. And as you come in towards me now with my brush, you can see the path is getting darker and darker as I approach myself. So you've already got that illusion of something going away from you into the painting, which is the illusion we are trying to make there. So all pretty well and good so far. So I'm just going in with some darker tones now, just to try and bring a little bit of life to this painting, a little bit of mid-ground, if you would, coming in. So I'm putting the dark tones in, just add a little bit of burnt umber, a little bit of green that I've got on my palette. I've added a little bit of raw sienna, I think, to this as well. I just wanted that dark greeny type of tone to it, and you can see I'm just tapping the brush. I'm not worried about details. A lot of my paintings aren't, even my commissions are not about detail, and you can get so carried away with details sometimes. It it can be very time consuming and very demoralizing for yourself, especially if you're a beginner, that you want to get everything perfect. And art is not about perfection. Art is about illusion and the ability to express yourself in the form of paint onto a painting surface, and getting people to see what you see through your eyes. And a lot of people can't do that. A lot of people can't see what you're trying to show them, but there's a lot of people out there that can. And art is in the eyes of the beholder, as they say. So I'm just putting a little bit of green down to emulate, or a little bit of yellow. It's a very, very, very pale green, actually. It looks more yellow on camera, but it's a very, very pale, very, very pale green. I'm just going to try to bring a bit of light into this painting now. So let's see if we can't bring this painting to life. So I'm just going to bring that to the other side as well. I've decided they're going to be a bunch of trees. As you can see, I've already got the shape and form in with just minor, basically simple little dips and dabs of a paintbrush. You've already got that. Oh, it's a tree feeling. So I'm just going to bring a bit more color into there, like that, and that's just going to act as a little bit of shade. So this is what we call blocking in. So all we're doing is getting the base colors down. I'm trying to develop that feeling of distance. I'm trying to get the tones of colors I want. I'm looking to bring this painting to some sort of shape. This is going to allow me just to put a few decent little dips and dobs and little lines in here, and very, very small amounts of detail, just to get what I'm trying to see in my mind's eye across to you as the viewer. And it's always difficult to try and paint a painting on camera and narrate over it as well. But what's even harder sometimes is to be able to paint a painting and then lose the audio on it, and then have to do more audio and remember what you've done and what you've said. It's quite hard. Making videos for YouTube is not as easy as you may think. So I want to thank you all for being here with me today. And don't forget, there's a notification button down the bottom there. Don't forget to click the notification bell. A lot of people are just watching my videos and not getting the notification setting right. Make sure you click to all, so you'll always get a video uploaded from me on a Monday at 7:30 Greenwich Mean Time, 7:30 p.m. every evening, and whatever that is in your time zone. I always upload on a Monday, so you shouldn't miss out. And there's always bonus videos as well during the week where I talk about tips and possibly some comments that I get, which I'm working on several videos at the moment on paper, and trying to plan those out as well. So you've got all that coming up in the future months as well. And I've done over 500 paintings for YouTube, so there's plenty of lessons there for you covering all different types of subjects. So please have a look at the main channel. Go to the main channel, which is Clive 5 Art. Search that in the YouTube search bar, and then you can go and have a look at what I've uploaded in the video tab. And there's also playlists there as well, which are all categorized for you, and like tips and paint mixing and all that type of stuff. So give it a look. There might be some. There's always something in there. There's something in there for everybody. There's something in there for everybody. So pop along and have a look at that. So I'm just continuing to waffle here, as I do in Wales, and yeah, I'm just trying to build up some sort of focal points with a little bit of dark, a little bit of light, and just giving yourself something to look at. I don't know what it is. It could be anything, but as we paint, things start to develop, and sometimes the brush tends to do things that it wants to do rather than what we want it to do, and we think, oh, that looks like a building, oh, that looks like a log, oh, that looks like a rock, and we work around it. So never be fearful of your brush strokes. Always embrace them and allow them to. Your hand knows best. Your subconscious is controlling your hand in a lot of cases, because I think art comes a lot from the subconscious part of the brain. Even though we've made a conscious decision to paint a certain subject, or we've taken a photograph of something and we're trying to copy that into an art form, our subconscious takes over, our creativity takes over, and sometimes we're doing things that we're not even thinking about. Have anybody been in a car with someone and or driven a car, and you're going down the road and you've got to go to the shops, and before you know it, you've passed the shops and you're off down the road to somewhere else, and you're thinking, well, why am I here? What am I doing? Well, that's your subconscious taking over. And it's the same with art. Sometimes we do things in an unconscious way to create stuff, because our brains are racing super fast. We've got these neurons firing around in our brain, and sometimes when we're getting creative, we are thinking faster than we can act, and these things are taken over by the subconscious, and they go in, right, we got to get this down now, boys, come on, quick, before we forget what we're doing. So I'm putting some trunks of the trees in. As you can see, I put a little one in say in the midground there. As I'm coming towards the foreground, these trees are getting slightly bigger. There you go. Put a nice old big old chunky old tree there. That's been there for quite a while, a bit like me. It's coming up to my 60th birthday now, so he's been there a good 60 years, just doing what he does, being a tree. And yes, but as you can see, it's a bit bigger. So I've already created distance. I've already created that depth by just putting 3 thick lines in, a thick line, a medium line, and a thin line, and that's already given me that illusion of depth. Look how far that mountain is now in the background. And don't forget, this is painting on a flat surface. It's basically two-dimensional. It's not we'll be trying to create a 3-dimensional view here on a 2-dimensional surface, and that's what art's all about. It is not an easy thing to do. So never beat yourself up, never kick yourself about your abilities. Always embrace your abilities and just accept what's happening, but learn from those. Learn. Bit of medium tone going in now, a little bit of green, a little bit of colour, just going on top of that shadow colour that I put in, that block out colour. And that's going to start to bring that the greenery to life. So we're going to be putting some highlights on that shortly. So just embrace your mistakes and learn from them. That's how we, I've said it so many times before, that's how we learn to walk. Because if we didn't fall down when we were children and our parents pick us up, we wouldn't walk. We'd all be crawling around like, on our hands and knees. And we just learn to walk, and we get hurt in the process along the way. And that's the same in life in general. We all go through things in lives where it hurts sometimes, but we never make those mistakes again. And sometimes it improves our lives by getting hurt. I know that's a strange thing to say, but it's true. Sometimes we've got to get hurt in order to move forward. And it's the same with art, that we have to make mistakes in order to learn, so we can improve our interpretation of what we are trying to project onto a piece of paper or canvas or board or whatever we paint on with some paints. Basically, you can imagine the caveman in the cave millions of years ago, falling over and putting his hands in this red old clay muddy stuff and thinking, oh, what have I done? I want to eat my piece of meat, I'm starving. So he gets his hands and he slaps them on the cave wall, and he goes, ooh, that looks like that dinosaur I killed this morning. If I get a bit of charcoal out of the fire and perhaps make a face, that could be a nice painting. Oh, I've decorated my cave. That's how art started. Imagination and mistakes. There we go. Just something to think about. Something for this old Welshman stuck here in Wales to waffle on about. So yeah. Just me talking, really. So as you can see, I put some highlights on these trees. I put the dark color in, and I put some mid-tone color in, and then I put some highlights in, and now I'm proceeding to put some highlights into the foreground zone, as I call it, and just a little bit of light in the background there, just as if there's a little bit of light catching through. The shadows coming down off the trees, and you can see all these little light rays and light areas on the grass. All of a sudden this grass area is starting to develop and get nice and bright, and this is exactly what we want. We want to get this looking nice. Don't forget those dark spots. Don't forget, it's not all about light. Sometimes it's about shadows, can be so effective. So don't forget those shadows, and don't kill all the good bits by putting in too much of the good things. We think light is, we got to have light, we got to put some light in here, but don't kill all the negativity. Negativity helps. What I'm saying is negativity, shadows and light work together so well. So don't forget, don't kill everything by being over enthusiastic with your brush. Just let tiny little brush strokes. You can see this could be a river, couldn't it? Not a path, but it could be a river. So, you know, I know it looks a bit blue. It could be quite easily a stream or a creek. It doesn't have to be just a path. So it all works. Everything you paint in the same way. You paint darks, midtones and lights, and it's just how you put that paint on and what you're trying to emulate. Look at that little bit of shadow I'm putting in there now. All of a sudden you can see this shadow. So the light is coming from the right hand side, is casting that shadow over, all the way over that lovely light path. Again, a bit more shadow, breaking up that path or river or whatever you've painted. And don't forget, this is your painting, this is your world. It can be anything you want. So I'm just putting some shadow lines in there just to show you that you can break that up with a little bit of negativity. Yes, I'm quite liking this painting. I really am. I should paint on paper more often, I think. Sometimes it's like being out and I'm painting in outdoors, you know. I was going to say al fresco, but that's more about eating food outdoors rather than painting. So I'm going to put some posts in. So I'm going to use a brush just to give myself a guide, to get a straight line, have a bit of fun. If I was painting outside, this is what I would do, because I wouldn't have my tools, I wouldn't have rulers and things like that. So I'm just going to use the side of my brush just to get some sort of a post. Look at that. Easy, easy breezy, lemon squeezy. And then we already got a post in there. So that could be a telegraph post, it could be a lamp post, it could be anything like that. Those type of things that I'm thinking of, a mast or something like that. But mainly a telegraph post, a power line, possibly power lines. There we go. Who knows? You make it up as you go along. So there we go. We've got some of them in already. And now a little bit of freehand work. Don't breathe. Take a deep breath. Right, okay, get that straight line in there. You can do it. I believe in you. There you go. Another one so far away. It's a tiny little thing. There we are. And I'm just going to put a couple of lines across the top because I've decided now that these are going to be power lines. There you go. Boom, 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 boom. Easy breezy. There we are. Easy breezy, lemon squeezy. All done. My little Molly Moose is barking. I don't know what she's seen, a cat or something. I'm actually sitting here and she's running around. I love my little Molly in the studio. So we'll put these little shadow lines in just to bring that together. As you could see, I'm going to put some cables in now. Very, very thin brush, very, very thin paint, just to give that essence of realism. Don't worry too much about it. Just get them in there and have a little bit of a, oops, let's get rid of that. Made a bit of a mistake there. If you do it quick, you can get away with it. Just a little bit of a bend in that, because the weight of those cables over that distance will make them bend just a little bit. Just a little bit of realism there. And again, as we go back into the distance, we just need to put them in as tight and close together as possible. Oops, there's another mistake. Just go with it. Embrace those mistakes. Sometimes they happen just to challenge us. There we go. A little bit of moisture on my brush, just washing away that A little bit of paint, there we go. It's okay. Don't worry too much about it. We could be doing this outdoors. Look at that distance that we've created there already by a simple painting. Some sky, some distant mountains that we can't see really, just misty old mountains there. There we are. And then we put some distant tree shapes in there. We put a path in. We put some different colors on the grass as we come in forward. We get in darker. We put some shadows with some trees there. We've put some highlights on those trees, and all of a sudden, as if by magic, we've developed this perspective painting. There we go. And it's a simple process, isn't it? If you think about it, it's just a couple of trees, some power lines, and some distant mountains, and look what we've created. You could sell this on a craft fair, couldn't you? And if you want to sell things on a craft fair, don't forget to check out my videos, my playlists. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to click that play button. Notifications you need to set to all, and you'll see all these wonderful tips. I give some fantastic tips on how to sell paintings, how to do your artwork, how to price your artwork. But you need to go to the channel to check those latest videos out, have a look at the playlists, and see those, and that's going to give you some help and advice there. So thank you very much for joining me here today in the studio. I'm just going to continue painting this, just putting some highlights in, and hopefully I will see you in the studio again shortly. So as I said, don't forget to click that subscribe button. Have a nice day and happy painting.
It's time to learn with our friend Clive. So grab your brush, have a great time. And don't forget to click subscribe.